So we are at the end of January. January has already come and gone. What am I saying? We're already into February, which means I have a lot of new crochet projects that I'm wanting to get into, new yarn to play around with. But before I keep going like full steam ahead, I wanted to take a little moment here with you in the Yarn Dungeon and go through some of my favorite crochet pieces that I made, or not even my favorite. Like this is everything that I created for January of 2026, including the basket. January, it's normally a hit or miss month. I have a lot of ideas. I feel very creative in January. Now, do I end up finishing all my projects? Hardly ever. So the fact that this basket is completely full, this is a pretty good month for me. I also like to close up my monthly zine. I end up using this basically as my scrapbook for the entire month, not only to keep track of the patterns that I'm using, but the books that I read, the movies that I watched while I was crocheting, and then also the yarn that I use. This looks like garbage, I know. It's just a random yarn bowl that I have, and it does glow in the dark. It's so fantastic. Like, I choose something that makes me very excited every single time, no matter what I'm putting in there. I want to be excited about the vessel that these things are going into. So it's all the yarn tags that I've used, whether it's new to me yarn or yarn that I just really, really loved and I want to remember that. It's all going to go into the zine. I have this final page of January zine that I need to finish. The notes from the Yarn Dungeon, I like to place my yarn tags on there and say a little bit about it so I can remember, or, if and when a couple months down the road, I'm like, oh yeah, what was that one yarn that I used for this? It's all right here. It's all collected, organized, and nice and neat. Then I will bind my entire zine. Sometimes I'll use the yarn that I have because I don't know that I'm going to have enough actually. Maybe I will with this one, maybe. So the color doesn't always correspond with like what the zine looks like. It's the yarn that I ended up using through the entire month. Like these ones, I'm not going to use that. Those are way too big. But I throw everything in here, all of my yarn scraps, just to keep them for January. It's like there's little tiny yarn scrap projects that I can do. But yeah, so I'm going to go through all of those things here. And let's just start with my favorite piece that I crocheted for January of 2026, which is probably not going to be a surprise to you in any way, shape, or form, because it's the pattern that's featured on this month's zine, and it is the Snood. This is an accessory that I just come back to every single January. It's just something that not only is it practical, but it's a very meditative project for me. This one in particular, it was just a combination of everything that I loved. The stitch, the color, what I chose for it was very repetitive. So once you get a couple rows into it, you're like, I got this. I don't need to even pay attention to the pattern anymore, which was intentional. Like I wanted this to be a nice cozy moment that I can sit down and watch a movie, or I can listen to an audiobook, or, do some other things, because it is January and it is dark and gray and cold outside. So I like to have a lot of different media going on during January. But this one, I don't know, I just couldn't put it down. It was my accessory for January. I also did thrift this gorgeous, super long wool coat that I could not believe I found at a thrift store, and the price was just crazy. And so as soon as I found it, it fit me perfectly. I was like, this is it. This is my style for January and forward. So this coat, I'm like lovingly taking care of because it's just so perfect. And with the Snood, the pop of the red against the black wool was just perfect. Every single time I had to go outside in January, that was what I was wearing. I had that, my winter boots on, good to go. Like that's it. I don't need anything else. I do have other Snoods. I have cowls, I have scarves, I have a lot of other things that I've crocheted in years past. And normally I cycle through it like every week. I'll switch out. I'll just like give it a little break, I'll do a full wash, reset it, reblock it. This one didn't need to be blocked, but I think going into February, I probably will. We'll just do like a full spa day for this one. I've washed it twice now. There are a couple of days that I got caught in a snowstorm and it got really, really wet. Like it was just snowing very heavily out. It was wet and it just needed to. It was time. I'd wore it every single day. So a little love and attention needed to be brought to it. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon in February. It's still very cold where I'm at. Having this as like just something cozy to wear around my neck. It was really nice when I was going from inside my house, outside to wherever I'm at. I mean, it's a snood. It's very versatile, very functional. I can have it around my neck. I can throw it up. It covers my ears, which is a really big thing for me in the wintertime. I do not like cold ears, but I don't always want to wear a hat either that's like super tight. A snood is my accessory. So hands down, this was not only my favorite thing that I crocheted for January, but also my favorite thing that I reached for every single day. The next thing I made was another pattern in this month's zine, which was a Tunisian crochet coaster. I made so many of these. Like, it was constantly on my Tunisian crochet hook. Like, I don't think there was a moment where I didn't have it sitting by my couch. It was just there ready to go. They're bite size. I finished this in one sitting and my house is covered now in these little coasters. I have a stockpile of them actually ready to go for gift giving season, because who doesn't love good coasters? And especially the way that this is the Tunisian simple stitch. So you just go forward and backwards. In my zine, we walk through the entire process. So if you're looking to get into Tunisian crochet, I walk you through everything step by step for that. And again, it's just a great project to get started on. It's a 5 by 5 inch square. Something that I feel like I always have to say when we talk about simple projects and quick and easy type of projects, just because something is simple doesn't mean that it's not worth having and it's not amazing to work up. I love coasters and I cannot get enough of them. I have coffee in the morning. Well, let's be honest, I have coffee all throughout the day, but coffee in the morning, we have some tea after lunch. I like tea at night. So I always have a warm beverage. It doesn't matter the season. It does not matter in the slightest. Every single day I have coffee and tea, which means I need a lot of coasters everywhere. Every single room, every side table has a coaster, and I like to change up the colors to go with the seasons. Having this tiny, quick and easy project, it was really, really fun for January. It was something that I was going around and looking in the yarn dungeon like, okay, where do I have any scrap yarn? Where's some colors? I'm looking for some red and black. I know, shocking, but those are the colors I was looking for. I was looking through all of my 100% wool. What do I have? Where are the baskets full of those? Because I know I have a bunch that I didn't want to get rid of them because it was from a bigger project, but maybe I only have a half a skein left or something like that. They were not safe. They all became coasters. And this was just kind of the basis that I went with. I didn't find any red. I was looking for red cotton. That's really what I wanted to do. And I was just going to do plain red ones to have, plain black ones. Didn't get there, but I ended up using the black and white, which looked very Beetlejuice all around my house, so I was pretty happy. This next one feels like a little bit of a cheat because I didn't do anything except for seam it together. Like, it's been sitting in my whip pile for longer than a couple months, honestly. It's been sitting there and staring at me. It's like, I'm finished. All you need to do is put the seams together and then you can wear it. What are you doing, Kayla? I don't know, but when I'm not in the mood to seam everything together, to get my yarn needle out, I am not going to be in the mood. I'm not going to do it. And I just know myself. So it sat there waiting ready for me. But this was the month I finished my moon yarn cowl from Crow and Crescent Yarn. This is what they came out for Halloween. Yeah, this was their Halloween colorway. And now, in fairness, they are like a month behind. So they announce it in October. And then I got it in November. But then as soon as I got it, I ended up working on it right away. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It took a while to get here, but that's okay. These are definitely projects that I take my time with. This is my moon yarn and it's very, very special to me. There was a lot of love and intention that went into dyeing it. So I'm continuing that artistic process. So if I'm not in the mood to work with it, I'm not going to put those vibes, that energy towards this yarn. We're not just powering through it, which is another reason why it took a little while for me to get through. But it's finished now and I wore it out yesterday. Yesterday was the very first day that I actually wore it. I mean, because my Snood, again, that's my go-to thing right now. I might end up gifting this one, even though I really love how the colors turned out. Have someone in mind that this is their color combination and they would wear it basically every day. It would be like my Snood. This would be their go-to accessory. So I'm going to hang on to it for right now, but it may be leaving the yarn dungeon very soon. I ended up doing a half double crochet for this entire process. I didn't really measure too much. I just kind of held it up. I did a foundation chain, wrapped it around, felt about where I wanted for the cowl. Again, I did crochet flat instead of in the round and then seamed everything together. Had I worked in the round, obviously I wouldn't have had to seam it, but the way that the colors laid, I really wanted to crochet flat, and I'm happy that I did it. This was one hank of yarn. I did get other colorways in this collection, but I just wanted this cowl to showcase this. So this was the colorway that had every single color in one hank of yarn. There was a pink, there was a blue, I think there was a couple different blues actually. Next up, we have this, which was the colorway Eye of Vecna. It was a cake that came from Muse 2320, and I'm so glad that I decided to do this just by itself. I was going back and forth of if I wanted to make it into a bigger project, do a cardigan, add some ribbing to it, add other colors, but no, it needed to be its own thing, its own entity, and just exist in the world like this. I would really love to find a brooch to attach onto this, but that's something that when I find it, I know it's going to be the right one. I love thrifting for brooches when it comes to my crochet pieces, but that's something that I can't just like go out and find right away. We got to find each other. That's how those things work. If this was something that was on her site, I would 100% get a couple more of these and make a sweater out of it. It is just so beautiful. I love the shifts in color. I love how it's like splattery red up there, the dark intense red. Like it was just such a joy to work with. And honestly, I was a little bit sad when I was done working this up because I knew that was it, which those projects are fun in and of themselves because it's just a moment in time that you get to work with it. And once it's done, it's done. I mean, in fairness, obviously I can pull it apart, frog it, and make it into something else. But this was just, I don't know, I loved every moment and it was a really special piece to me. So this one is definitely staying with me. It's going to be in my wardrobe. I think I'll wear it a little bit more when it gets a little warmer out. Right now I'm looking for thick, heavy pieces, and this is just a little bit light, even though it is wool. So it is going to keep me warm. But when I'm accessorizing, I'm thinking more like we're starting to see some of the grass pop up. The sun is coming back. Maybe the snow is melting a little bit. Then I can see myself reaching for this a lot more. Next, from the Stranger Thing box. So there was two different versions. We had volume 1 and volume 2. Volume 1 had the Eye of Vecna cake. Volume 2 had a bunch of baby hanks, and they were all colors that corresponded to some of the main characters that came from Stranger Things. This was a really incredibly intentional project for me because, again, this was a one and done type of project. It's never going to be replicated again. I wanted a piece that was just chaotic. Like it had every single character together, and I wanted something a little bit different too. So I could have made a Snood, could have made a Cowl, but I decided to make kind of a combination of, we got 11 different baby hanks of yarn, and then we got a full hank of yarn, and it's just wild, just chaos. That's exactly what it looks like, which is basically the end of the series, is kind of how I felt about it. It's just like, here we go, it's all in one, closing every single chapter and done. Especially with this down here, all of the colors, they don't go together, but they do because they're the characters. I can also tag my video of me unboxing this so you can see what character is what yarn colorway, but I feel like you can definitely tell whose colorway is who. This is another one where it's fully done being crocheted, but it's not completely done yet. I need a button. So this gets buttoned right here, and I haven't found that yet. It's something else that I like to thrift for. I do have a lot of buttons in the yarn dungeon, so I did look around and see if maybe there was something I want, but I want a black and red button. I want it to go right here. I want it to be a little bit big. So it's another thing. When I find it, I find it. Definitely needed to be blocked. I used this granny cluster stitch for it. The edges right here, since I didn't do anything to finish it, it. I just kind of like went back and forth and that was it. It totally needed a wash and a block before I wore it. And it kind of stretched out the stitches a little bit too. When I first worked with it, they're very, very close. And I knew they weren't going to be like that. Like they were going to relax a little bit. So I had to keep that in mind as I was working with it. It was like a trust the process type of project. It was definitely an overnight wash and block. And I did have to get a fan out because there's just so much. And since this is wool yarn, I didn't want it to be wet for so long. And it's the dead of winter. So it's not like anything else was helping it. Got it done, blocked it out in 24 hours. And now it's just kind of been sitting on the back of my chair in the yarn dungeon. So when I come down here and have my first cup of coffee, it's just been here to keep me warm. And it makes me smile every time I pull it up. And I feel like that's a good project if it can do that every single time I look at it. The last couple of things that I made came from the same yarn, which was the Vecna Fab. I really struggled with this yarn. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I knew I wanted to play around with it because like eventually I can see myself liking it. It's a very tough and structural type of yarn. It's a fabric based yarn, fabric with a little bit of polyester in the middle. I ended up making more coasters. I don't know. I was just feeling Tunisian crochet coasters, and that was the easiest way that I found to work with this stuff. When it came to crocheting, it was just very tough on my arms, on my elbow. That's normally where I get fatigued very quickly, is like right in the back of my elbow. If the yarn is really, really big and chunky over a bulky size yarn, I just know myself and it's going to be difficult to work with. I have to take a lot of breaks with it. So I just wanted to do something tiny, and I ended up using all of the skeins that I had. I think was 5 in total. So this was just random. I just threw this on my Tunisian crochet hook, ended up really loving it. Used up the rest of the yarn for all of these. These two I am actually going to set out for March in my barista area because there are tiny little flowers on it. It just goes really well. Like February is, we got Slasher, Halloween. That's what I'm thinking for my barista area. March, I'm ready for flowers. I'm ready for floral, mossy colors, dark, intense purples. So these two are going to go out. The rest of these I am going to gift. I have someone in mind, again, that I know would love these colorways. And I think they're kind of fun because I can stack them all together, different colors. I'll probably just do a little bit of a yarn bow on the top right here and then put it into, I don't know, some sort of gift basket or something. I do have like a giant bin that I collect throughout the year because we all know when it comes to gift giving season, if you want to make a lot of things for a bunch of different people, when it comes to actually thinking about it, or I know me anyways, by the time I start thinking about it, it's already almost too late. Since I have little things like this ready to go in January, it's like, if I don't have a reason to give them away yet, maybe we'll just save them, hold on to them until there's a birthday or a celebration or something, and I want to have a little gift to give here. But yeah, so these 4 giving away, these 2 I'm going to save for March. And then the basket, which is the only thing that I actually crocheted with this yarn, was the pattern that was on the back of the yarn tag. So there are these little nesting baskets here. I made the small version of it, but I don't think mine is as tall as the original is. Needed 4 for the small, 5 for the medium. So mine's probably somewhere in between a small and medium. I had 5 in total, but obviously I made a couple other projects out of the other ones. So I'm not really entirely sure like where this is. I could measure it. It has the measurements right in here. I think this is perfect though. This is a fun size basket. I've been using it for the month of January as just like my go-to project bag. So when I had like pieces like this, lots of bits of yarn, and I had multiple crochet hooks that I needed, it worked really well to go in here. Obviously, there are really big holes on the bottom of this. So if I were to keep this for myself, I would definitely put a fabric liner in here. That way I could just throw my crochet hook in here and I don't have to worry about it. But when I was using it like this, I had to make sure that I had a crochet hook carrier, like a little case for it. Otherwise the hook would just slide right through here. Especially with this, I was using 16 4 millimeter crochet hook. So yeah, that would just go right through this, which was like a 15 millimeter crochet hook, significantly bigger. There isn't a single piece here that I want to frog, or I'm just like not feeling, because sometimes that happens when you finish a project, or especially like that cowl that I'd been working on for a couple of months. Sometimes I kind of grow out of it, or maybe I don't like the stitch or something. No, everything that is done, I'm either going to keep or I'm going to save and give as a gift. There were a couple of projects that I added onto my whip pile. Well, it's like a giant whip basket at this moment in time. We can be real with each other, okay? My work in project basket, it's always going to be there. It's never going to be empty, but that's just part of the creative process. However, I do like to go through it at the end of the month and sit down with that piece and be like, okay, was this fun for the moment and we can frog it and move on? Or do we actually want to finish it and we just weren't feeling it at that moment? Because both are totally fine. I don't have negative feelings towards frogging anymore. I used to when I first got into crocheting, because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so many hours I put into and I'm just throwing it all away. But I enjoy every single step of the crochet process, and frogging happens. Like, it's just something that ultimately will happen no matter what. Say the color combination I might not like with the stitch, or I'm not feeling that wearable piece anymore. A lot of times it's with wearables for me. If I'm not feeling the color in the stitch, then I'm gonna frog it. And that's totally okay, because we make it into something different and then I love it so much more. That is another reason why I keep these tags, not simply to remember like, oh yeah, this was a new yarn that I used. I don't think that I'm ever gonna use it again, but also, what did I use that is still in process here? And this is the big one, the Yarnspiration Bernat Future. I liked the feel of this. This was like a new line that they came out with. There are quite a few different colors that they had. It's a medium number 4, suggesting a 5 millimeter crochet hook. It's a chenille style type of yarn. The pattern that they had suggested for this was a black and white sweater. I just fell in love with it. I really wanted to make it. Got into the pattern. I don't think it's on the inside. No, there's nothing on the inside. You have to scan it here because there was quite a few patterns available with this one in particular. It's a very easy to walk through type of pattern, but there's a lot of ends. So basically there's this chunk that I'm working through. So it's like rows 2 through 9, and we're switching. We have a big chunk of the black, it switches over to the white, but the white you don't carry. So what I really should have done was the sweater all in black instead of black with the white stripes, because there are 2 different strands now for every white stripe. And I think there's 5 in the front, 5 in the back, 5 in the arms on either side. So it's a lot of ends to weave in, which isn't a big deal normally, but I just felt like I could never get in the flow with this project. I would sit down with it. I'm like, I know what comes up next. It's not a hard, repetitive type of block from rows 2 to 9. It's a half double crochet. There's nothing really that I need to focus on, but I just could not get into a rhythm with it. So I would sit down, do maybe 20 rows, and then set it down. And every time I picked it back up, I felt like I had to have the pattern there again. Like, I couldn't just pick it back up and be like, okay, I know exactly where I'm at. Let's just get into it. And this is 100% a me thing. It's not the pattern's fault in any way, shape, or form. It's just that one row of white. If I would have done the entire sweater in black, I would never have had to change. And I think wearable wise, I would have reached for it more, but I'm too far into the project. I did sit down with it this morning, thought about ripping, because I have the front and I have the back done. I'm starting on the front and I'm starting on a sleeve as well. I thought maybe that was my problem. I was like, maybe I just need to work on a different piece of the sweater. So I started working on one of the sleeves in between the front, and I was like, no, it's the exact same pattern. It's just in sleeve form, and that is worked flat anyway, so it's not like I'm working in the round. Nothing really has changed for it. So yeah, it's just 100% me, but I do like that white stripe in there. So I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna continue to power through it. I needed 3 balls of the black, 1 of the white, and that's all I have. And it's been feeling really nice to work with, like very enjoyable. This stuff, it's normally a hit or miss with me. If that strand, that little, like, you know what I'm talking about, there's like this hard string in here that's holding all of this fluffy stuff together. Normally that'll bother me after a while of just like repetitive motion. It's like rubbing on my skin. It's a huge sensory thing to me, and I can't do that for more than like an hour or so, and then I'm just like done with it. I'm overstimulated by this type of texture, but it hasn't been the case with this one. So I think I just need to sit down and work with this project because I had so many other things going on too that I don't think I gave enough attention to it. At the end of the night, I always had at least 2 or 3 different projects that I could choose from. It was never, this is your project, Kayla. You're working with this. You don't have any options. And sometimes I do need to do that to myself and say, finish this project. Like, that's just do this. You're going to be so happy once it's done. And I do feel like it's going to be a go-to sweater for me after it's fully finished, but I just need to get to that point. So I've used one of these completely. I've moved on to the second ball of black yarn, but the white yarn, I don't even think I'm going to make it all the way through that. Like, there's a lot of that left and I'm already onto the sleeve. I might have a little bit of that extra, which is totally fine because again, I've used this for an entire month now. It's not something that I feel like it needs to be a constant in the yarn dungeon for me to reach for, but I wouldn't be mad if it was in here. Like, if I had extra, I will definitely find use for it. We have a bunch of the Yarnspiration Fab, which I feel like we've talked a lot about that. Fab yarn and Lopi yarn. Okay, so this is the stuff that I was using, which is 100% wool for my Tunisian crochet coasters. I love this stuff. Love, love, love. Want it in every color. I need this in the yarn dungeon. Like, this is a staple for me. There's not a question. Muse 2320 has it on her site. There's a bunch of different colors right now. I'm looking for the pink because we're coming up to Halloween. I do want to do a pink, red, and black striped coaster, but right now I think the pink is totally sold out. Hopefully I can get to the actual shop sometime and see. 100%, this is a staple now in the yarn dungeon. It is so nice to work with, especially for this time of year, which is how cold it is. It's like a workhorse type of yarn. So it's not the softest yarn in any way, shape, or form. It's 100% wool. So it is going to be a texture that if you've never used it, I would suggest getting one and just feeling it. It's like, it's not going to be a for everyone type of yarn and for every type of project. This is, for me, home decor. This is what I'm using it for. I do kind of want to play around with making wearables with it just to see, because there are a lot of patterns out there that use this. Like, this is not a new yarn in any way, shape, or form. This is just something that I haven't really given a lot of attention to. I'm interested in making a sweater. I don't know if that's something that I'm going to fully commit to in February, but definitely more coasters, maybe some coffee mug holders, anything to do with coffee and crochet. Those two things go together really well for me. And I mean, I have a ton of the black and cream right now, so bite-sized projects, working with my Tunisian crochet hook. Yeah, we're going to be seeing this in the yarn dungeon quite a bit. And yeah, I think that is it for the tags. I didn't save the tags for the Stranger Things box, and I also didn't, those were like in bags, and I like started it in December and it kind of worked its way into January, so I don't have those anymore. Also, the tag for my Snood, which was Muse 2320 yarn in fingering weight. I don't have that, but there was 3 of them that I put all together here. This will be a staple. Like, whenever Muse 2320 has this on her site, I will be ordering some. Maybe a sweater vest or a crop top, a cardigan. Definitely some things for summer. I would be fun too if I did some tank tops, maybe some granny squares on the bottom with this, and then do like black granny squares on the bottom. That would be super fun. I don't know. I love this color too. So this would be a staple if it's there all the time. But it is hand-dyed yarn, and Muse 2320 cycles through their colorway. So it's a story throughout the entire year. It's just another one to enjoy while it's here for the season. All right, well, thanks for hanging out with me and going through some of my completed crochet makes. I would love to know what you finished. What did you dig out of your whips pile this month? Finish up. And if there's any projects that you were like, you know what, we're not bringing this into the new year. We're done with this. We're starting fresh. Shout out what you're most excited about to crochet for February. I have a strong feeling that I'm going to start getting back into crochet blankets. It's it's just like January is one of those months, a lot of wearables, a lot of bite-sized projects, a lot of accessories. I can feel the itch of wanting to make another crochet blanket. Thanks again for hanging out with me. I hope you have a super spooky rest of your night, and I will see you in my next video.